All right, it's now the early mid 1960s. You're coming of age in Southern California, and here comes another change in America that's going to affect you, and it's called the Beatles, the English invasion. You're out here, I'm sure, listening to the Beach Boys too, but as we all were, but suddenly, again, Ed Sullivan and all the Brill cream disappears from everybody's hair. It's no longer there overnight. It's gone. And now you're listening to the Beatles, and soon you'll be listening to Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and Phil Oakes. And what I'm just trying to walk you into now is how you're affected by this change of culture. The music, the culture, it's all around you. You're a young man in one of the seminal places, San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, London, England, and you happen to be in one of those four.
Well, Jim, to have come of age in Los Angeles somewhere in the mid-1960s, between 63, 65, 66, you couldn't have choreographed it or scripted a better location. You know, when I hit LA, and among those movies that I saw back in New York, they also included Beach Blanket Bingo with Frankie and Annette, and Fun in the Sun, and Palm Trees, and Malibu Girls, and all of that kind of stuff. Surf City. I didn't have a car, I just had the bus. I lived near Western Avenue. It took me probably 5 months before I actually made it as far as the beach. But I got the LA vibe really quickly. Yes, it was school most of the time, and it was studying most of the time, and I had no friends. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a car, and there was no place to hang out. And you don't go to bars when you're 18 years old, or clubs. It was really about learning the art. I took it very seriously. I mean, I really studied broadcasting. But there came a time where, you know, the Beatles recorded I Want to Hold Your Hand the same month that Dylan recorded Blowin' in the Wind.
I didn't know that.
That is true.
No, okay.
And the two songs appeared about November of 1963, the same month that President Kennedy was assassinated. And it impacted me in my right and left brain hemisphere. Because Bob was saying to me that the answer was blowing in the wind to questions I had. And the Beatles were saying, I want to hold your hand. One was appealing to my heart and the other was appealing to my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But the soundtrack of my life was the Beach Boys. I mean, it was Carl Wilson, it was all those guys. And I finally bought a car for $300, a Morris Minor. Don't ask me what it is, it was just a great deal. And I made it to the beach. I went to the edge of America. I saw the girls in the bikinis, I saw the palm trees. I reveled in the California delights. Somewhere around that time, I went to the Hollywood Bowl to see a Joan Baez concert, and at the end of the Joan Baez concert, she brought on a young man that she thought we would like to listen to, who sang a song called The Times They Were Changing in front of 24,000 people who would not let him off the stage. It was the best time of my life. The absolute best time. I left LA City College. I got a job at a local radio station, KPFK, listener-supported station, where I started doing a late-night telephone talk show. I was the youngest guy in America who was taking phone calls from people my own age, late teens, early 20s. I was interviewing all the rock icons of the time, The people from San Francisco who were making music there would come to LA, they would stop at KPFK, I would talk with them till 4 or 5 in the morning. It didn't matter if it was the Gray Slick from the Jefferson Airplane or whoever it was. And it wasn't just the rock musicians, it was the culture icons of the time. Political figures like Jerry Rubin and Abbie Hoffman, psychedelic voyagers like Timothy Leary, folk singers like Phil Oakes. There is an endless list, most of whom have gone from my mind. And it was a radio show where I played the records, opened the telephones, people talked to me, I talked to them, we interacted with each other. I was ashamed to cash the check. I wasn't that ashamed because the check was $75 a week.
Yeah.
But I was home. I was on the air.
Yeah.
I was on the radio, you know? That was a huge transitional time for me. And it completed the move from New York to LA and solidified in me the concept that this business of being a communicator on radio, of learning the experience of interviewing, understanding it was important to listen twice as much as you speak. One mouth, 2 ears. And if you listen carefully and give people a platform to speak, they will run to your doors saying, we want to be on your air. If you ask the question, shut up and get out of the way and let the person respond, you'll develop an audience, a loyal audience, which I had. And I moved from Harvard Avenue about a mile west to Vista Del Mar, where I had an apartment that was twice as big as the one that I had on Harvard.
Well, you're now making $75. But
it's time to step upstairs.
Come on.
Time to step upstairs. It was the best time for me, Jim.